not. Probably go. Right. So I'll obviously leave the chat here. This is obviously the big account. It's obviously on my FX book here. So yeah, I've just been obviously going through it. So pretty happy, but obviously it's been scaling very nicely. So super happy. Right. So let's just have a little look at everything. I haven't actually done very much on the charts this weekend, just to let everybody know. I've been chilling out a bit. We've been to Christmas markets. We went to Selfridges yesterday. London was crazy. I'm not gonna go into London again for a while. It was rammed. But yeah, right. So obviously Friday, we've obviously got a bank holiday for everything. Sorry, th Thursday we got bank holiday for everything. So and then Wednesday, yeah, it's pretty crazy. So hold on a minute, guys. Sorry, I had my daughter come in asking me where her pajamas are. Right, let's get back to it. So we what we're gonna probably do is play a little bit of an attack Monday and Tuesday, right? Wednesday, I'm probably gonna trade in the morning, but then I'm not gonna be trading after, as you can see here. Everything closes, for the afternoon. So expect Wednesday to be very quiet. So yeah, we will be trading Wednesday morning. We won't be trading Wednesday afternoon. I want everyone to chill out, enjoy Christmas. Don't, worry. Christmas Day, we're obviously not going to be doing anything. Boxing Day, I'll post a few things, but if I was probably giving advice. Take from Wednesday afternoon all the way until Monday off. But obviously gold will be probably one of the pairs that we're going to be looking at because it's going to give us that kind of a move. But expect that not a lot this week's going to happen. All right, everyone's winding down. After Monday and Tuesday, not a lot is going to happen. However, we do have a lot of US news coming out. So, Monday, we've obviously got core PCE. We've got some GDP for pounds straight away tomorrow. Um, and then obviously Tuesday we've got GDP for US dollar, very heavy. We've got employment, we've got GDP, we got consumer confidence. It's going to be pretty hectic on Tuesday, so let's make sure that we are up for it, and making sure we capitalize on it as much as we can. So yeah, that is obviously the goal. It's been a pretty epic, December. I've been really happy. We've had a couple of quiet days, like Wednesday was quiet. Mainly it's been about one day a week, which has been pretty quiet, but we've stayed in profit. We've stayed disciplined. So obviously, well done to everyone. The new kind of way that I've been laying out trades started on the 17th, and obviously yeah, it's been working very well, so very happy. But Bitcoin, I was hoping to be out of this position. You guys know, obviously, on this yellow line here, 87, I think it's 87,750 is where I brought. And it's just done absolutely nothing. The crypto market hasn't really moved at all. So yeah, was obviously hoping for a push up here. However, that's not happened yet. I'm going to play it by ear, and then obviously wait and see. So yeah, that's obviously wait and see what happens in regards to the crypto market. But everything's very quiet. If we look at the dollar right now, right? So trend for me for the dollar, macro outlook has slightly changed. We obviously were trending to the downside here. We've kind of breached that, and obviously it's looking very, very positive. So I'm pretty happy as long as we're above 98,500 to obviously look on the outlook to kind of buy. What I would like to see is for the dollar to be trading up around 99. There's a little bit of optimism in there. Not obviously a lot because not a lot is happening, and you have to put that into perspective. All right, so you got to put in perspective the you got to put into perspective the overall kind of yeah, time of year, all right, and how potentially yeah, there's almost a bit of a lack of enthusiasm in the markets because let's face it, for anyone who's working here, you're not really interested, not that you're not interested, but everyone's gearing up for Thursday, Friday, so yeah, it's kind of get the things done that need to be done, but nothing, news gonna be, looked at until after Christmas. So obviously that is exactly the same outlook in the, markets. And so yeah, that's make sure that we have those expectations that if you thought last week was a bit slow, this week's going to be even, slower. However, if we are looking at obviously capitalizing on dollar coming to the upside, that means yields. We want these to obviously rise, slightly. I do think everything is gonna pretty much consolidate. I would imagine the dollar could potentially, bust up, but I don't think we're gonna see much more movement this week than probably this. All right, that's probably maximum, so just be aware of that. Same with gold here. Look how long we've been trapped in this area here. All right, so we've been trapped in it since what, the 11th. All right, and I think this is going to continue. However, I really like where gold is. All right. And what I would like to, see, and obviously I'll remark this out tomorrow, is I want to see, something like this happen down, but then obviously on London Open, I want to see this happen. And then we're going to potentially, if that's what it's looking like, capitalize on this particular move here. So that's what we're going to be, focusing on. Is I think personally, and I'm going to obviously reevaluate everything in the morning. But if I had to hazard a guess, now it'll be us, selling, from here. So that's obviously one thing that I'm going to be potentially looking into, but I can't see gold breaking out of this kind of range here. But let's wait and see. If you look at last week, so Wednesday, where were we? Tuesday, Monday. We obviously had a pretty tight consolidation, last week. So yeah, it was, if you think about closure wise, it's pretty tight here, So I imagine that, we're obviously not going to be making any crazy, moves here. However, pound tomorrow could be an interesting one here. All right, we're obviously anticipating a bit of US dollar strength. We've obviously got a bit of a head-on clash here, because pound the Bank of England, is obviously trying to push to the upside. Although data's not been brilliant, they're obviously all on the same wavelength here. And then obviously we've got a slightly stronger US dollar here, so it's which one's gonna kind of give way and take over. So it'll be very, very interesting to see how the market opens. I kind of want it to push up a bit. I'm not gonna lie. I'd like to go with US dollar strength this week. So yeah, that will be one. But right, let's have a look at through some of these questions here. If you've got any questions, write them in the chat. Obviously, that's the beauty of the channel here, because obviously I will happily answer anything. All right. Um, let's have a look from Gary. Evening, chill out, ready for the mad rush. Um, XUI RAM. Been working, family time. Now we'll watch a replay. Good evening, Dan. What's your prediction for gold? Given my prediction, I think it's gonna, consolidate. There we go. David, have you considered offering Bitcoin and possibly gold trades on, Saturday? Well, gold markets normally close, but Bitcoin, I have. But do you know what? I actually, like I've always mentioned, all right, I want to be trading. Obviously, I had the one-to-ones with you guys about a month and a half ago, and obviously, it really, really put into perspective how I only want to be publishing or documenting how I want to trade, and how I want to trade for a long time. So to me, I think you give your brain a rest, at the weekends. Bitcoin's a bit of its own kind of entity in regards to that. There is no way of really tracking it. It's all hype. So that is obviously where I would probably, choose to probably take a bit of a break. Let's have a look here. Hi Dan. I've noticed you only trade certain currencies in the copier. What informed the choice? Yeah, so the copier is completely, separate. So what it does is it tracks a, fund from Dubai, and it tracks a NZD CAD, AUD CAD, and AUD NZD. Now, I'm obviously not allowed to explain how it works. The only thing I will give you that estimation on is they are all consolidating pairs. This is obviously AUD NZD. This is obviously AUD CAD. You can see there's no wild movements. I'll show you something in a minute. And obviously, this is NZD CAD here. Look how stable they are. All right. You're not going to lose out massively. Now, let's, for example, look at GBP JPY. All right. Look how it's not as, stable. Let's look at, say, for example, GBP USD here. Yeah. You do get these crazy moves. Gold. So they're what's classed as consolidating pairs, and obviously what they do very, very well, and obviously that is why it has been working brilliantly. I'm pretty sure I'm up quite a bit on this account. Let me just have a quick look now, and I can tell you. So we're currently running on 1.5 lots. I'm currently running about $170 down, and the overall history it's about 23% up. And so I'm really, really happy. Yeah. Um, let's go through this. Simon, price of silver pumped all December. Do you see it dropping? Again, I haven't really looked much into the, silver market. It does kind of track gold, not like crazy track it, but it does track it ever so, slightly. It's not so much of a, safe haven as what gold is, but obviously it will track it, loosely. So if gold, I think, right, nothing's gonna drop heavy or push up heavy. All right, everything's gonna be kind of consolidating within an area. Yeah. All right. So because there is nothing in the, market to push it this way or push it up this way. Yeah. All right. You have to remember that we obviously need buyers or sellers to come in with confidence to obviously move anything in any direction. Alfie, do you have a guide for lot sizes on a different pairs depending on your account size? So I'm pretty sure Trade Tab has a calculator here. All right, so bit calculator. If you use Trade Tab, you can obviously yeah, go go through it. You can type in your account size, everything. So yeah, you could say type in say 1,000. You want to risk, say you want to risk 10%, or say 12% or 8%, right? And we got a stop loss of, say for example, 32 pips. Yeah, right? It'll tell you what your count size should be. All right. So that there's lots of them out there. There is another one as well called Stinu, STINU. This one's probably the best, and you got to pay. I think it's about 30 quid for a year. It's an app, but this one is probably the best. But obviously, yeah, if you want a free one, then use Trade Tab. That's no problem. Um, so have a look at this. Can you explain again the strategy that you are using at the moment? I'm trying to figure out how you are selecting the range that FX pairs fail to break. Do you include two or three ranging areas on a 2 hour time frame? So, right. I'm not going to give it away quite yet. I am going to put a couple of, strategies in my course. I'm probably going to do that next week. I'm going to have time. So I will be adding it in, and obviously I do, you know, kind of explain the, kind of macro outlook of, everything. So, one thing which I think, beginners is going to really, really help. All right. So if you're on the 2 hour, yeah, all right, that's the best time frame for kind of daily intraday analysis. Yeah. All right. Now, I would put very, 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 I obviously go into a bit more detail than this, but very, very basic one. EMAs have two. All right. If you don't know how to find them, indicators, moving average, click on it twice, and obviously you'll get two. All right. Have your 200, right? And then have your 50. Yeah. Now, overall, very, 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 very easy, right? If the 50 on the 2 hour is above the 200, right? And obviously, in time, I will obviously go over this in a lot more detail. And there's a few other things that obviously I look into as well. But if the 50 is above the 200, 9 times out of 10 look to buy. All right, if it's below, look to sell. All right, that's going to give you your overall di direction. Now, sometimes it's slightly different, but if you want the overall percentage, that is going to give you the direction. All right. And then without obviously going into too much detail and obviously confusing everyone, just look for, liquidity kind of pockets. Yeah. All right. What do I mean by pockets? Things like this, all right, where prices obviously busted up into this area, struggle for a bit, come up, there'd be a bit of a pocket here, all right, but obviously we're looking to buy, so your kind of buy area would be around here, or you could obviously, if you wanted, depending on how safe you want to play it, you could obviously even drop it down to like this area here. Yeah. All right. So, but obviously the main thing is probably eight, 7 or 8 times out of 10, this 50 on the 2 hour trading above the 200 will obviously give you the direction that you obviously should be placing your trade on. Now, I've got a really good, simple gold, strategy. One thing I say to everyone is, every strategy, or not every strategy works, but there are lots of strategies that you won't even give the chance, which will, work. For example, I even tested, I think I t tested it in August, and I tested it from August 2024 to August 2025. And all I did was buy, I think I, the on the 30-minute time frame, all right, this is how basic it was, right? 30-minute time frame, I looked at 130, all right, and whatever that candle was there, all right, so for example, here it's green, I bought here, yeah, all right, if that was red, I would, sell it. All right. Now, that was over the year, and I think I had 150 pip stop loss, 300 pip take profit. All right. And I think that was about 6,000 pips up. Yeah. All right. But that's like the most basic strategy, but you have to stick with it, over time, right? There's another one on, silver. I'm going to publish this in the course because, I mentioned it, last week, and obviously a few people have liked it. So I'm going to go into a bit more detail on it. So whatever the 2 p.m. candle is, you go the opposite way. All right. So for example, you would enter here because obviously this was a buy. That is a, sell, and obviously that would, work here. If we look again, 2 p.m. candle, big, sell here, and then you buy, yeah, all right, red, green. So where else we got here? 2 p.m. candle, green, red. It's crazy how basic, some of these, strategies are. So yeah. Right, Gary, can you advise the gain on the copier over the long term, please? I'm, showing this every single day, because obviously I've got a 10K account, and it's, 23% up since the 17th, I think, of 17th of no, November, and I probably will, carry on scaling it. So I'm about, I've been taking like mini withdrawals. So I'm about 1700 in profit. So I think once I get it to 2K, I'll probably obviously up it to 1.75. We've got a guy who has got a 100K account, and he's trading 4.5 lots. And I think he's made about 1,800 in a week and a half. So he's really, really happy. But yeah, so can you advise the gain on the copy? Yeah. So I think if we average it out at, say, I don't know, 10 to 15% a month. I think depending on obviously the, risk. We've obviously got guys on smaller accounts who are up about 30%, so yeah, main thing is not to over push it, because like any copier, this one swung into, I think the worst I've had it is about 20% drawdown, but obviously I am over leveraged ever so, slightly. So I've been obviously happy to, swallow it. So yeah. Thanks, Dan. I'm on your course. Brilliant. I'm really struggling with timing due to a 9 to 5 job. How are you advised on a trading strategy? I did give a really, really good one. It was called the 7 a.m. strategy, and all you do, I'm pretty sure it's in my course, but basically, pre, 7 a.m., you don't really need to obviously worry about any candles or anything. It's based on currency strength. You just literally find the strongest currency and then find the weakest one too. and you basically trade the top three against the bottom one. So you would just buy all the top three currencies against the bottom. And I'm pretty sure about 7 times out of 10, you're going to be in profit. And I did a whole video on this, and obviously I put it in the course, so everyone can be done by like quarter to 7 in the morning. So that's that's obviously a good one. Main thing is, look, drop me a message, all right, to obviously my personal one. I post it in a circle, and obviously explain to me obviously what your hours are, and obviously we can work through a plan to kind of help you, because that's the biggest thing here. Is everyone's obviously, you want to be understanding, what you're trading, why. That's part of why I obviously do the 8 a.m., lives. Because, I want you guys to obviously understand my, macro outlook, why I might be looking at this, why I might be looking at, that. Whereas if you just place in trades just blindly, trusting, whoever's obviously documenting their trades, then you're obviously going to be, yeah, there's you don't know what you're doing, so yeah, that's one thing. But you want to be working your trading around your kind of work, because work obviously, as much as you don't want it to be priority, has to be priority, because that is what's putting the bread on the table while you're learning this new skill. All right, and I think even I took my kind of previous business for granted, where I didn't put 100% in, towards the end, because I really wanted to be a trader, and obviously that put more pressure on me. All right, so, and obviously you don't want that pressure. So just make sure that you're obviously prioritizing your job, and then obviously everything else can obviously come into fruition after. Dan, when I take your gold trades, I'm targeting 100 pips, and then I'm happy to close. Should I move my stop loss to make my risk to reward 1 to 2? I think I'm obviously I'm not anti risk to, rewards, but there's lots of different ways to, to define it. Obviously, every single fund, or anyone who's worked at a fund, explains to me is they don't have take profits, and they don't have, stop losses. All right. So this is a complete kind of retail, kind of sales tactic, because yes, it makes brilliant, kind of sense, where you need a risk to reward and blah 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 blah. But obviously on the in the realistic, side, they are always hedging. All right, so we obviously haven't got that luxury. So to make it more gambling ified, if that makes any sense, or gamified. We've obviously made this risk to, re reward up, but obviously there is a lot of ways to obviously interpret a risk to reward. For example, like I'd speak about a lot, your directional risk to reward. Even if you've obviously, say for example, your target's here, you've entered here, and price. Sorry, let's do a better example of this, right? And say for example, your target's here, yeah, right? You've entered here, and price obviously gone up here, right? It's everyone's kind of mentality because of this to try and hold, all right? And obviously, you will watch this go all the way down, 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 down. Chances are you're gonna, move this, so stop loss till probably your account goes bang, all right? Whereas if you look at it as, I always like, session targets, all right? So, and taking profit off the table when you are happy, right? Because that is That's your only job here. All right. Your only job here is not to make this chart look pretty and colorful and time everything perfect. Your job is to take money out of here and put it into your pocket. That's your only job. It doesn't have to look pretty. It's just, we just need this out of here and then into our pockets. Yeah. All right. Don't leave it on the table by holding on to, an imaginary TP if you are happy. Because, what ends up happening, like I've explained, how funds work, right? Say, for example, they bought here, all right, and prices come in here, right? There might be them buying here, right? Price carries on, all right? This is the top here, yeah? All right? They won't be, closing here, right? What they will do is they will wait for this to happen here and then they'll close out, all right? Because they're banking on overall trend is doing this, yeah? Your trend is going to the upside. Once trend changes and you make this technically, lower high and it continues, that's when obviously that they will come out. All right. And we kind of have to learn a bit from that. In regards to you might have a TP here, right? And it might smash it. All right. And there'll be all of this room here if that's how you trade. Yeah. And obviously that's how, hedge funds, that's why they don't have a TP because obviously they're just working on their trend. Yeah, but it's until this trend changes and they will always come out here. But even if they come out here, yes, they've missed out on all of this, but they've gained this if their overall target was here and it's blasted straight through. Yeah. All right. So just be aware of that. Are you planning to go back to trading strategy where you trade three top pairs against the weakest three? Why are you not trading? Why are you not using multiple strategies to trade? This is why. All right. It's all green. All right. And we swapped on the 17th here, and we haven't had a losing day. All right. And, this kind of, sums it up where even if nothing happens, all right, we're still going to end because of where I'm plotting it. We're never, ever going to end up crazy on the other, side of it. All right. Everything should, even if it doesn't go completely the way we want it, this is our pretty much been our worst case, scenario releasing. So no, I'm going to continue. Right, I'm going to keep obviously putting some different, strategies in. I know that everyone wants to trade, more, and if you want to, that's cool. That's your choice. But I'm going to stick to, me. I'm going to stick to what's profitable. I'm going to stick to how I want to trade. And if anyone wants to trial trading more, that's obviously, no problem at all. But, like you've seen from obviously the big account, like you've seen from the challenge account, if you think about it, I handed, I handed $400 out to one person the first week. I handed $500 to one person. Last week I've done $295 to four people. Um, today, so and this is all being taken from trades that obviously I have posted, so yeah, tall kind of, long answer is, short is, no, I really, really, like how it is, it's very, very profitable, and I think it's teaching everyone to be a bit more patient. Omar, hello, Dan. For the 50 EMA and 200 EMA is the one above the 50. Yeah, basically, if that's what you this just will help you. Yes, sometimes we'll obviously add in, different flows, um, and things like that. But obviously, overall, if you're struggling with knowing what direction, so something's going to go, then obviously this will help you, because it's basically mapping out the current trend, all right? But just remember this, for obviously this week coming and the week after, we're gonna get this, all right? Um, right, let's have a look. Thank you, Dan. So, do you think it's better to master one strategy than multiple? I would do one at a time. It's always good to have a few strategies in your arsenal because obviously what happens then is if markets change, then obviously you can adapt quickly. One thing that's made I think us a lot more profitable is that I'm only concentrating on five pairs now. So that's obviously what's helping. Right, we've got less than a minute left. Don't you have a good session indicator? I, I use the 8 hour. All right. So every 8 hour candle is a trading session. Yeah, you can see here how slow liquidity was. Friday, that was Asia, London, New York. Look how little the kind of movement was. But this is going to end. I hope everyone's enjoyed it. Have a great evening, and I'll be back early in the morning. Let's try and smash out Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday morning. So let's have a good one, everyone. Have a great evening. Have a good one, guys.